Hello everyone, and welcome to another beer review. Now the good thing about today is it's a Sunday video, and when this goes out, when this airs on that Sunday, that'll be the Sunday after the Peterborough Beer Festival. When this goes out, I will be collecting the wife and the youngest boy from the airport because they've arrived back in the UK, which is a good thing because I haven't seen them for a while. So at the end of the day, it's a case of, they'll be missing my dulcet tones and my crappy sense of humour. But one of the good things is when she's back, then I can actually start ordering some decent beers again, because this is the kind of last decent one that I've actually got. Well, I hope it's a decent one. I presume it's a decent one going by all the other beers that we've had, because this is the last one in the Palmer series that was kindly donated by Adrian. And like I said, it's been very much appreciated, especially because it's quite difficult to order beer and make sure it arrives, because you order it, you try and gauge it, well hopefully it should maybe be here within 3 days, and it isn't, and then you're thinking, oh shit, I'm off on the 4th day, and I can't hang about, I've got to go and do other things, and then it does arrive, or it arrives even after that, and you're thinking, well, there's nothing I can do, it's in the hands of the gods now, whether I'm going to get it and when I'm going to get it, that type of stuff. So with the wife being back, it makes it easier, because the last few videos that I've been doing, I've had to buy locally, and it's been bad. I mean, really has bad. Jesus. Really has been bad. Bloody awful, to be totally honest. So, today we're actually on Palmer's Tally Ho. Haha. Is that a bloody fly? Get away from me, you nonce. Tally Ho, this award-winning and famous dark ale, was first brewed for bottle in 1949. Oh, there you go. Full, rich and delicious, complex, deep fruit cake flavours made this a beer you quite simply have to try. There you go. It's supposed to be a dark, strong ale. It's 5.5%, and I'm kind of looking forward to this, but slightly not, because I feel that I'm probably doing this beer a bit too early. I think this beer would have been better kind of into the autumn. This would have been a better beer for kind of autumn, December, maybe round about Christmas. Unfortunately, this is mid-August. Yes, and we're kind of in a bit of a heat wave again, or as GB News would put it, Nigel Farage. You know what I mean? Or as Times, oh, Jesus fucking hell, oh, as Times Radio would put it, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, and tomorrow, Donald Trump. So that was a wee bit lively. What the fuck is going on with my bloody fridge? Although I can live with that puddle, because that's kind of a regular kind of amount that kind of seeps into the mattress every night. On the wife's side, when she's awake. I'm not talking about alcohol, by the way, and especially not beer, because I have this rule: do not drink alcohol or beer in the bed. So I wouldn't be doing that to the staying in the bed. Well, anyway, it's a live little bugger, isn't it? I'm just trying to think. It's when I go to bed, does my bloody my fridge kind of practice disco dance or something like that? Basically, rave moves or something like that, And then I basically get in there, open a beer, and it looks like, that type of stuff, Seriously, bastards. Right, let's see what it smells like. Well, straight away you're getting that kind of dried fruit, you're getting that kind of slightly fruit cake tones, you're getting malt and you're getting different levels of it. You're picking up a little bit of caramel, you're picking up the toffee, you're picking up a little bit of molasses, but you're also picking up a little bit of kind of slightly golden syrupy as well to kind of sweeten it up. You know, it's kind of balancing out the kind of molasses tones. But yeah, it smells rich, it smells of body, and it smells of dried fruit and fruitcakes. Right, shall we see? Is there any more in this bottle, by the way? Because it'd be a shame to waste this. Well, you know I wasn't going to do it anyway. I mean, off camera I'll be licking this bloody table, don't you worry about that, by the way. Oh, the grain of the table will be well rimmed. I do apologise, but hey, I'm not going to lie to you. Right, let's see what it tastes like. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, it's got a little bit. It has got the treacle kind of molasses notes, and that kind of Lyle's black treacle, but it also feels has slight licorice notes as well. But what I would say is there's bags of flavour there and it's really nice, but the thing that surprised me is it's not as heavy or as overly rich as what I thought it was going to be. It's a little bit lighter, and I'll be totally honest, right now in this type of weather I'm bloody glad, because I think it's a case as though I'd be kind of, you know, it's like kind of try to wade through porridge, you know, a wee bit kind of with the weather, and you just really don't want a kind of a heavier, richer, kind of large-bodied beer, you know what I mean? But there's a little bit of lightness to that. The flavour intensity is good. The flavour clarity is very good, really good. And yeah, that is nice. That is nice. The thing that stands out is good flavour intensity, but really good flavour clarity. You can actually pick out individual flavours very, very easily. There's a good level of body, but it's not overly rich. You know, sometimes the case it becomes overly rich and overly sweet, and it can become quite sickening. I mean, a good example is probably Fuller's Vintage Ales. While some of them can be very nice, some of them can also be just a bit too much, a bit too rich, and with the sweetness and everything else, even just having one bottle, it becomes a bit sickening after a while. I'm gonna be like struggling here, you know, that type of thing. And that's one of the things that kind of stands out, which is from these type of beers, it stands out that can be its kind of downfall, whereas it stands out more in this one because it isn't like that, and it's one of these ones where you could have a few of them. Because I think one of the biggest problems is it's a shame where you're drinking quite a rich, intensely flavoured beer, but it's so kind of flavour intense and everything else, and so rich that it's actually preventing you from drinking it as you're working your way through it. It's like you're like, I don't know if I want another one of these. It's, you know, it's kind of, I'm getting a bit sick of it. Whereas this one, nice flavour intensities of these style of flavours, but you're thinking, yeah, these are really nice. I could go another one. It's like that. They have that kind of balance, right? Of kind of, it's got the kind of the strong, dark premium ale, rich, good intensity of flavour and everything else, but not too much where there is a bit of sessionability. There is still drinkability to it, whereas the case is, oh yeah, I could have 2 or 3 of these quite easily, maybe more. Yeah, that is a bloody nice beer. And fair play to Palmer's, because that's a clean sweep. I mean, I have not had a bad beer from that tasting pack. So that's 5 beers, never mind the useless fucking glass that's over there, and give you a stupid wee poncy glass that, well, apart from the one 330ml bottle, what was the point of basically providing a stupid glass like that when every other one's a 500ml bottle, and you think we're going to sit there and keep nursing and keep filling up the glass like a twat? Just give us a normal bloody pint glass that we could basically pull the bottle in, put it down, go and sit down, and then I don't have to worry about it until I'm back at the fridge again, Just seriously think about it, for God's sake. What do you do at home? Are you going to sit there and just keep topping up when do we top up again? Oh, aye, fuck it off. These workers are basically in the bloody brewery at Palmer's, go home and think, right, crack open the bottle, fill the glass with it, chuck the bottle away, sit down, there we go, I'll neck that, and then I'm ready, I'll go back up and get another bottle from the fridge, just like any other normal fucking pot liquor, you know what I mean? But what we will do is we'll give them a shitty glass that's absolutely no use to man or beast, but at the end of the day we'll put Palmer's on it and we'll say, look, see, we care, we've given you a little glass there that's so, yeah, you might as well put fucking iced tea in it, because it's fucking useless for beer. So that's one. I'll call it as I see it, that type of stuff. I'm not fucking, I don't get romanticised or kind of cajoled with breweries, there's always rooms for improvement. And well, Palmer's have had a clean sweep that they've made basically 5 beers in the tasting pack that are 5 very nice beers that I'd be happy to have a glass of any of them. Fair play to them. There's obviously ones I'd prefer to have. Excuse me. Whew, I don't know where that came from. That came from the pit of the soul, didn't it? Whew, bit of choking that would have started. But yeah, as I was saying, it's a case of there's ones I would prefer to have in the glass than others. But if I would offer any of them, if I went down to your house, because you invited me there, because you've had an episode and you've lost your fucking marbles and you've gone absolutely pure mental, and you've invited me round and you think you want a glass, so maybe you go, I'll give you a glass. I've got Palmer's beer somewhere, I'll give you a glass of that. I would say yes, thank you very much, that'd be lovely. I wouldn't even ask what you've got, because at the end of the day, while there's ones I would prefer than others, I'd be quite happy to have a glass of any of them at any of your houses, no matter how dirty you keep them. No, let me rephrase that. If you've got a dirty house, you can fuck off. I'm drinking in the garden, alright? Or the pavement, as long as there's no dog shit about it. Alright? Sorted. I'll wait for the air invites then. That's a safe one, it's never going to happen. I'm safe in my seat, I don't have to move. Anyway, you wouldn't want me in your inside toilet anyway, Jesus God. I'm a nasty bastard. I would do things in there and then basically tell you about them a week later when it's too fucking late. You did what, you know what I mean? I did not wipe my arse with your shower head. Twice. You know what I mean? That type of thing. I know toilet roll. Don't worry. In the bath. She was in the bath. What the fuck's she doing in there? Soup. Anyway. No. Fair play to them from that point of view. They've. It's a clean sweep. It really is. I would say that, yeah, I think all the beers have been above 6. I don't think anything would probably be 7 or above, I think, to be totally honest. I don't think there's really been anything kind of below a 6 or maybe below a 7. I'll need to go back and review that, but I would say, yeah, looking back on them, I think I was happy with all of them to a certain degree, and more happy with some than others. But yeah, I mean, they've all been a good standard, they've all been a good quality, they've all poured well, they've all basically, you know, not once do I feel that there's been a drop in ingredient quality or flavour, that type of stuff, I would say. What the bloody hell is that? Fucking fly. Bastard, yeah. Anyway, I would say that the flavours and the recipes and everything else have been consistent. There's been a good standard right across the board, and it hasn't dropped below that standard. Some have obviously went higher than others, but of course obviously some of them are classed as more premium ales and things like that. But I'll be totally honest, quite surprised and very happy. It's nice to see that you've got breweries out there, and of course it's a decent brewery. It's always had a decent reputation, and it's old enough to kind of understand that reputation matters, regardless of market trends and everything else. There's always room for good quality brewed, good standard beers of a more kind of traditional bent. I'm not saying that they don't kind of maybe try to push the boundaries a little bit, but also sometimes they push the boundaries in the opposite direction. A good example is probably Dorset Gold, whereas everybody's going towards the kind of New World hops with their golden ales and all that type of stuff. I mean, let's be totally, some of these golden ales, well, they're a mixture of between New World bloody pale ales and God knows what else. I mean, they're all a kind of much of a muchness, you know. Blonde ales with citrus, golden ales with citrus, pale ales with citrus, IPAs with citrus, you know, it's all that kind of stuff, and everybody's going, oh, citrus, New World hops, citrus, New World hops, and then you've got basically Palmer saying, no, let's go make this malt forward, let's go the opposite way, which actually works, and is actually more of something that's more unique than the mainstream kind of blind kind of sheep following the trend, you know, and fair play to them. So I'm not saying it's a case as though they don't think about trying to kind of do something different, because they do, but they don't just blindly follow the kind of trends, and for me that's a good thing. So they are willing to stick their neck out to a certain degree, but they also understand a decent kind of, every beer needs a decent foundation, and that's based on a decent recipe, good quality ingredients, and actually giving a shit when you're actually brewing it. So yeah, so it's quite good fun. And it stands out. That's really nice. It's nice, but by God, every time I take a sip, my mouth is going absolutely to radio rental, which is rhyming slang for mental, because of all the nice clean flavours, and it's just like going, whoa, and you're like, oh, I can get that, and I've got that. It's like going through a list. You're just ticking the boxes, like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? And it's nice, and it's interesting, and it just is. It's just a really nice beer, and it's quite surprising. Maybe not so much now, because obviously we've tried quite a few beers recently from Palmer, so I wouldn't say this is as surprising as maybe it'd been if it was been the first beer. If this was the first beer I started with, I'd be like, oh Jesus God, whew. They really went with this one. And this beer is very different from the premium ale. The premium ale, which was 200, which I think at the very start of that video I called it 2000, because I'm a bloody twat. I mean, there's no excuse. I'm not even dyslexic or any of that type of stuff, and think, I'm just, what the hell are you talking about, you idiot? I don't know. You know, sometimes you just make mistakes in videos, you know what I mean, like opening the fucking bottle. You'll understand what I'm talking about if you've watched any of the videos that come after this one. No, before this one actually, because this will be that one. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. Yeah. Last Sunday's video, you'll understand what I'm talking about, because that last Sunday's video I really shouldn't have opened the bottle. In fact, I should have left the fucking bottle on the shelf in the shop. It was fucking dreadful. That was a 1. This is going to be a lot more than a 1. And that's the thing that kind of stands out. That's the thing that's kind of interesting. What's nice, it really is nice, but yeah, like I keep saying, it's the flavours that stand out and the clarity of the flavours. So shall we break these flavours down? It's actually going to take a little bit of time this time. Wow. Starts off front of the mouth, and it's like, Jesus, where do you start? Do you start with the stronger malt flavours, or do you work down to the kind of more subtle malt flavours? We'll start off with the subtle ones. So you're getting little bits of golden syrup edges, which can really kind of work well with that kind of little bit of sweetness there. Now the level of sweetness is, it's sweet enough. For this type of beer, it's not overly sweet. It's quite reserved in its sweetness, but I would say it's just enough to work with the different levels of malt there. And there is a few levels, because like I say, you've got golden syrup, you've got a nice kind of caramel malty tones, you've got nice toffee malty tones. You've also got kind of a golden, not a golden syrup, black treacle. It reminds me very much of Lyle's black treacle, and but it also has little kind of licorice tones as well that kind of work with it. It looks like they've added kind of some licorice at some point, but what it's done is it's kind of worked itself within the kind of molasses stroke kind of black treacle kind of malty tones, and it just really works, and it just like, whoa, it's just a nice level, boom boom boom. And when you're getting that, you're sitting there thinking, Jesus, as it moves onto the mid-tongue, this is going to be lots of body, it's going to be really rich, the sweetness might even go up a little bit and that type of stuff, and it's going to be, by the time it gets to the back of the mid-tongue going on to the kind of back of the mouth afterwards, it's probably going to start to be a bit kind of sickening. That's what you're kind of thinking. But as it moves to the mid-tongue, the sweetness maybe just slightly drops down a little bit. The malt slightly drops a little bit, but stays there with that kind of clarity. And I would say that the licorice also kind of just opens out a little bit more as well. As I say, that the malts maybe slightly drop a little bit, but one malt that doesn't is the treacle. The black treacle, the molasses one, and of course it works well with that little rise on the kind of slight kind of licorice accents. And the fruit, you start getting dried fruit, and the first thing I kind of notice with the dried fruit is the two kind of things that kind of stand out, especially with this kind of sweetness, because it does feel that it's kind of connected, is I'm getting kind of dates and I'm getting kind of raisins. That's the two kind of main kind of clear dry fruit flavours I'm getting. Maybe a little bit of kind of glacier cherries, maybe a little bit, but I would say definitely the two clear ones quite easily is dates and raisins. And it is, but the thing is, within that kind of mid-tongue area, you expected the kind of body to kind of really come through and kind of engulf it, and it's not. There is a light kind of rise in body from the front of the mouth, but not much, and that's a surprising tone. There's enough body there to make it satisfying, but not too much body to make it kind of overly rich. The flavours give you that kind of feeling of richness without the body kind of, you know, constricting it. And that's how it works. So you've got these really clear flavours that give you all the tones of a nicely rich beer, but the body's not overly rich, so it doesn't make it kind of stifling and like I say, sickening. and that really kind of stands out. That's the big thing, and the mid-tongue's an absolute pleasure. I'm not saying that the front of the mouth is great. Let's be told, it's a wonderful start. It's like, both, there you go. Hello there, treacle. We've started, and we've started well, and it starts really well. But it's when it moves over to the mid-tongue, that's where it really kind of comes into its own, because it's like the clarity of flavour really does stand out. Jesus, it's really nice, and the good intensity there. But it's not overly rich, and it's just, this is really working. You know, it just really is. It's just, for me, I don't want it to be overly rich, especially in this type of weather. It's just, yeah. Moves on to the kind of back of the mouth and aftertaste. And everything's kind of fairly clear. There's no bitterness really at the back end. It's definitely a really malt forward beer, and as it moves over, again, it's fairly a clean finish. Nothing kind of lingers, nothing's too heavy at the back end. It's actually quite a clean finish, and everything kind of dissipates at quite a nice level. Not too quickly that it maybe kind of cheapens it. You know, sometimes you think, oh, everything just dissipates. I mean, a good intensity of flavour, and then suddenly if it dissipates too quickly, it feels like, what the hell's happened there? You know what I mean? It's like somebody just switched the light off, you know what I mean? It's not that way. It just dissipates just at the right pace to maintain that kind of quality and feeling of a rich beer without feeling too rich, but not lasting too long for it to come think, Jesus, this is dragging on a bit, or finishing too quickly to feel it's slightly cheapened. It just, the back end just nicely balances out the front end. And a really nice beer. I don't know what awards it's won, but I imagine this in cask, Jesus, it would win awards, because by God, it's bloody good in the bottle. Imagine, like I say, it would be like in the cask. It'd be a cracker one in the cask. So that would definitely be one I'd be looking for to get in a growler. I think also the premium ale, the 200, I would look to get in a growler. And I might actually get their Dorset Gold in a growler as well. That'd be one of the ones I'd be kind of looking for and to review. Because a malt forward golden ale, that could be really interesting if I'm getting it in a golden ale and done as a live beer. That could be quite interesting. So it would be. And I think maybe some additional flavour would probably come through on that as well, that you weren't really picking up so much in the bottle. But yeah, I'll be totally honest, it's another cracking beer. And yeah, it's a very good beer, very satisfying beer, and I like the clarity of flavours. That's the thing that probably stands out the most, that and it not being overly rich. It's rich but not being overly heavy on the body and things like that, and there is a bit of kind of lightness to it that just makes it a little bit more drinkable. And I would say that's one of the things that can be a problem with the kind of rich beer sometimes. You know, there's like too much of a good thing and all that, you know, whereas this is enough of a good thing, but it's kind of rationed enough that you can have another and another, you know, that type of thing. So out of 10, what would I give this? I'm going to be right, there is a little bit of bitterness at the back end here, just a little bit, just a teeny little bit of, and that probably helps to kind of slightly tidy up the back end with the flavours and just help things to kind of dissipate more, because there's just a teeny little bit of bitterness that just kind of, just like tidying up, you know, just basically you've been shuffling the cards and you just kind of tidying them up to get them all nicely kind of lined up again. That's what it feels like, that little bit of bitterness just kind of slightly tidies up the flavours, kind of gets them all back in line for them all to nicely kind of dissipate in a controlled manner. Oh, it's nice, it really is nice. I would give this, I'm going to give this a 9. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because it really is a nice beer with really good quality ingredients, and I really do like that clarity of flavour, especially with the malt and that little bit of licorice in the mid-tongue with the kind of molasses stroke black treacle. It's just really nice, it really is nice, and the nice kind of the undertone, the lighter tone flavours of the raisins and the dates really does go really nicely. And it does, it has that kind of, it's got a kind of richness meets kind of nice fruit cake, you know, and it just, yeah, really nice. So yeah, well done Palmer's, it's absolutely spot on. And yeah, I'd be looking forward to get that in a growler to review, because I think it'd be cracking. So yeah, so it's 5.5% ABV. It's a 500ml bottle. I don't know what it costs, but I'll put down what it costs. If it's sold in a pack of 12, I'll put what it costs to buy in a pack of 12. One of the things I would say is that with Palmer's, there is no delivery fee. If you order like one pack and it's a 12 pack, whatever it costs, that's what it's going to cost to get it to you. On the UK mainland, there might be additional fees if it's outside of the UK mainland, but in the UK mainland, and of course I actually bought some of the premium stuff for next week, so I bought some of the 200 premium ale to take down for the Peterborough Beer Festival. So I'm taking that down just as a kind of a, something to enjoy for other people to try and things like that. And yeah, it was 12 bottles for 38 quid, and that's what I paid, 38 quid. So there was no additional fees for delivery and that type of stuff. And it was delivered by APC, and I'll be totally honest, unfortunately, I was actually at a funeral. I was at my uncle's funeral when it was getting delivered, and it was delivered at 1 o'clock, and I was actually planning to leave before that, so I would have been back in time for the delivery if my aunt hadn't taken ill, and that kind of delayed us. But I didn't leave till just the back of 1, and they'd actually attempted to deliver at 1 o'clock. But it was done by APC, and they managed to, obviously, I rearranged it. That was on the Thursday, and I rearranged it for delivery on the Friday, and it was delivered around about kind of 2 o'clock-ish on that Friday. And I'm sure I ordered it, was it Tuesday night, late on? So it was out of hours, so I ordered it online out of hours, and it was obviously picked up on the Wednesday. They got it out, and if I'd been in, I would have got it the next day after that. So fair play to them, and especially on the basis that I wasn't paying any additional fee for that. So that's something to remember. Not only the good quality beers, but their pricing and their delivery kind of packaging seems to kind of work as well. So yeah, fair play to them. So that's something to remember as well. So yeah, 5.5%, 500ml. I don't know what it costs, but it'll probably be around about the kind of £38 mark for 12, but I'll confirm that down below. It's an easy 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Cheers, and bye for now. I'm like the table.